Hey guys, what's going on? We got Jake's Reviews coming at you with a review for Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Class Mudflap, aka Derp. He is the brother of Skids, also known as Herp. Together they form Herp and Derp, the lovable comedy duo from Revenge of the Fallen. Mudflap is an Autobot, and his alt mode is a Chevy Trax, as you can see from his license plate right there. Originally the character was supposed to be named Trax, I heard, which explains why the license plate says that, and it also explains why later Mudflap toys have Mudflap on the license plate as opposed to Trax, which would make a lot more sense considering Skids has Skids on his license plate. He's sort of a burnt orange color. He's got a lot less painted detail than Skids, although that could just be the car mode because he doesn't have a little his decal on the side here or any other real sort of notable things along the side of the car. He does, however, some pretty nice sculpted things. He's got door handles here and here, nice painted rims, painted tail lights here, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice sculpts around the back here. The tires are actually really well detailed. You can see all the little individual grading, stuff like that. However, a pretty bland grill. Not a lot of detail painted or sculpted into this thing, and I felt like they could have done a lot more with it, which is kind of unfortunate. It's got a little missile holder in the back here. I don't even really need to make a poop joke with this one. It's been made enough. Missile looks kind of turdy. Anyway, it doesn't hold in very well. It just kind of slides in. It doesn't peg anywhere, and it will just kind of slide out, which is so really not appropriate if you take it to look like poop. Anyway, he rolls terribly, which is rather unfortunate. He's got a bad case of robot parts dragging on the ground. As you can see, you got all this kibble crap here and here, and also this stuff around this area. You just can't get it right without transforming him or having all of these doors and this panel up here not being aligned correctly. As you can see, he just kind of slides and drags on his crotch, actually. It's his crotch piece causing most of the problems, which is kind of silly. The problem is bigger on Mudflap than it is on Skids. Skids you can kind of fiddle around with it and you can eventually get it right, but Mudflap is just kind of beyond help. Usually most of his wheels aren't even touching the ground. He kind of wobbles, as you can see, which is once again rather unfortunate. Really cool looking alt mode, but just kind of gets dragged down by that problem. His transformation is not too complicated. It's not particularly mind melting or anything like that. It is very similar to Skids in a lot of ways, as you'll be able to tell. So the first thing I do is pop open these doors here. Basically just kind of pull, actually what you really can do is you just kind of pull the vehicle mode apart like this. So it kind of splits in half. Fold the doors out. My doors don't have as big of a problem as other Mudflap owners' doors seem to have. They don't pop off at the drop of a hat. They're pretty good about that kind of thing. Untab the hood here. Just kind of pull it apart. There you go. Fold it up. Unfold his arms. See, this is different from Skids. Skids' arms unfold in a rather different fashion. The whole panels come off as opposed to Mudflap, whose wheels just rotate inward. Which is interesting, actually. I actually like Mudflap's transformation a little bit better than I like Skids. Straighten out his arms, basically to whatever capacity you want. You're going to have to re-straighten them anyway, usually after the transformation is over. Make sure this is all unpegged and free. And then rotate it around. Actually, going to have to get the doors up the way first. Rotate the doors up to about, yeah, you can see. And then make sure it's all free and everything, and rotate this whole piece. Once again, you see a lot of shades of Skids here. Little piece is a little difficult to get cleared from other pieces of the robot mode, but once you do get it, it works out pretty well and stays pretty good. Make sure the doors are still out of the way, as they will get frequently in the way. Fold out these little tiny pieces here to actually no, that's not it. That's not the next step. Pop out these little parts. Basically, it's the whole wheel piece in the front of the car comes off. That will become his feet. Also a little bit different from Skids. Same general transformation, but little parts move differently, which is rather nice. Fold down these little things right there, and fold down his feet. Let's do that right side up. Fold it down, and fold down his feet. Sorry about that, camera. Fold down this little piece here, and then fold out these little sort of chest wings I don't know, nipple gliders. I don't know what they are. Then you flip up his head right here and just peg it in. Pegs in rather securely. And then the final step, or really sort of final couple steps, is you take this little tab right there and peg it into that little hole right there. Now, that happens by principle. It doesn't actually happen on the figure. It's supposed to happen, but it just doesn't work. You can't push it far enough in without having without something breaking off in order to get that tab in there. The wheels, this little part right here, the wheels attaching to this just don't clear right. And if you do manage to nudge it all the way in there, it just won't stay. So basically what I do is I just hook it into the missile holder. As you can see, it's a pretty good hole. And you just, it's a pretty good hole, my experience with holes. You just peg it in basically, and it stays pretty securely, as shown by the fact that it just popped off. Once you get them lined up correctly, it does actually stay in pretty well. His backpack collapses up much in the same way as his brother does. Pop in this tab, fold this little piece in, and then just kind of let it sort of squish it on itself. And once again, you're probably going to have to re-tab this a couple of times during the transformation because it just doesn't work out the way you plan. Fold a sort of crotch piece down here and get them all sort of stable, which is difficult considering the peg doesn't stay in right. There's a lot of folding issues. Get them all pegged in so it stays to some degree, and it won't right now, of course. This is just really frustrating. The fact that this peg doesn't stay just brings down the whole transformation because it's overall not a complicated transformation. It's not complex, it's not difficult. It's just this one thing won't work right. Anyway, so you get them to stand up, get them all pretty and ready to go. Angle his doors however you'd like. And there you have Revenge of the Fallen Mudflap in robot mode. The robot mode looks pretty good. It's actually got some pretty nice detail on it. The way the wheels fold up is pretty nice. He's got some cool arm little wires here, and the right arm is also very well detailed. However, the one really thing that shines out is his head sculpt. As you can see, his head sculpt is actually fantastic. It's really well sculpted, really well painted. I don't know how they made something so ugly look so pretty. It's really good. It's a very, very nice looking thing. He's also got the little Autobot symbol on his crotch there, as you can see right there, similar to his brother. And speaking of his brother, let's bring in Skids for a little size comparison here. As you can see, Skids is a little better at standing up straight, so he gets a little bit of height on him. Mudflap's backpack is a little bulkier. But overall they're about the same size. Skids does stand up a little better, and he holds together a heck of a lot better. And they also look great together, I think, personally. So, like I said, Mudflap's got some big stability problems with this whole peg-tab thing, where basically the tab insecurity leads to a lot of just collapsing, where basically eventually he'll just sort of kind of collapse in where his crotch won't fold out all the way, and he'll just tuck into his chest here, and it won't stay up, and he'll be kind of slouching a little bit and staring at the ground. Skids, that's a fixable problem. Usually it's just a mistransformation thing, but Mudflap, that's kind of the way it is. You can angle it up to some degree, but it won't stay that way. He will just slide back down, and it will unpeg again and again and again, which is very frustrating. Other than that big problem, is pretty solid. His articulation is good. His arms swivel and rotate. Curling iron arm here on the left, but it's not a big deal. Wrist swivels, leg, all of his articulation is pretty good. He's got a couple action features. His missile, basically you just kind of fold down the knuckle here, and the little missile launcher will pop up, and he will fire the missile. You just peg it in here. I'm running out of time here. Basically just pull the lever and boom, it fires. It's a pretty good launcher. He's also got the derp feature, where basically you press it on his chest here, and his head will move forward and all of his little pieces will move. It's a lot better than Skids, actually. It's a lot more dynamic and a lot better movement. Overall, he's a really good figure with a really bad problem. He's one simple mod away from just pure greatness. He looks great, and looks even better with Skids. They look good together. They're herp and derp together. Basically, you probably mod him a little bit and he'd be great. Like I said, he looks great with Skids, so he's definitely worth the buy. So this has been Jake's Reviews, coming after the review for Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Class Mudflap. Thanks for watching, guys.